Welcome to the Watch Talk Fun Podcast. I'm your host, Griffin.
And I am Rob, for some reason.
Oh my god. And today we're going to be talking about video game consoles because I went downstairs last night and found an Atari 2600 just chilling on my coffee table. And I have to say that's actually maybe the first time I've ever seen one in person.
Yeah, that's weird that was just in your house for kind of no reason.
Yeah, I gotta figure out where it came from. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. But we were just doing some research beforehand, and I'm just like looking at the the generation timelines, and it looks like the fifth generation was, besides the first, I think it was like the fifth generation is the second shortest.
Yeah, that was only about 4 or 5 years, I think.
Well, it said it started from 1993 to 2005.
The fifth generation?
Mm-hmm. And then sixth was 1998 to 2013.
Okay, so they're talking about generations when like production of the console stopped, not like when the new that seemed weird to me that fifth gen was up until 2005, but that's probably because they were still producing PlayStations or something.
Correct.
Just like with the PS2, how they were still making those in like 2014 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, that's they're talking about manufacturing generations basically. Generally, when people talk about console generations, they talk about like from when one was released till the next one was released. Which is why typically people talk about generations being like kind of like 4 to 6 years for the most part, except for seventh gen, which was like the longest, being like 8 years. Was it 8 or 9?
Wait, which one?
Seventh. Because the 360
Seventh?
came out in 2005, and then PS4 came out in 2014, right?
The PS4? I
think it was 2014.
Scrolling down. PlayStation 4. Yeah, 2014.
Yeah.
2013 in North America.
Okay. That makes sense, because The
Jesus.
Last of Us came out at the end of 2013, and that was like the last big PS3 game.
I didn't realize it's been that long since the PS4 was out.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
How long have I had my PlayStation? Holy shit.
Probably about that long.
I don't remember having it that long, though.
Weird. And at least now they're doing like kind of mid-generation refreshes, like with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X. That way, I mean that kind of makes sense. You don't necessarily change the platform; you just make it a little bit better. Mm-hmm. Which might be what they go with from here on out. I don't know. There's been talk about that for a while, with like console generations kind of going away, and
but why though?
Because it makes more sense to do it like more similarly to like phones, where new versions come out more frequently, instead of here's the thing that comes out and then that's the thing you make games for and play on for the next 4 to 8 years. Mm-hmm. It just you miss a lot of improved technology, especially in the case of the 7th gen, where that did go on for so long. And it started out at a weird time where, like, 2005, like, yeah, the 360 had HD capabilities, but, like, not really. Like, it was 1080i, and then most of the games were still just 720. And the same thing with PS3. Like, there's only, I think, a handful of games on PS3 that are actually, like, 1080p, 60 frames per second. For the most part, they're 720 upscaled to 1080 or 1080i or whatever. But by doing the refreshes, you can kind of help alleviate that. Like, you're not playing a game on 10-year-old hardware. You're playing it on 5-year-old hardware, say, or instead of 10 years old, 8 years old, something like that. Because they're always a little bit behind the times when things launch. Because they spend a few years in R&D, but Let's
see. So right now I'm looking up all the sales of the current gen.
Mm-hmm.
Or I think it's actually last gen. No, current and last, whatever. Because the numbers that it was giving me were like, they ended at a certain time. Like they stopped counting for this Wikipedia article.
Uh-huh.
So right now, I'm looking at, let me see, in millions total. Okay.
I know
Oof, that's
PS4
not
just
great.
Sony just announced that they've shipped like 67.5 million PS4s, but that's shipped. That's not sold. I believe their sold number is around 50 million, or at least last I heard. And the Xbox One, you're probably not going to find numbers on because I think Microsoft stopped publishing their sales numbers on the Xbox last year because the PS4 was destroying it so badly.
Yeah.
Now they only announce when the Xbox happens to sell more than PS4 for like a given month.
Let's see.
Which I think actually did happen for like 3 months the end of last year. Because there wasn't really, I don't think there was a big like holiday release last year for PS4.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the ones that have been discontinued so far, those numbers are actually accurate.
Okay.
The ones for the other ones seem a little bit not accurate. Let me see.
So when you talk about the ones that are discontinued, you mean production has ceased?
Yeah,
Okay.
like you can't. Yeah. Like anything that you buy is now like already in circulation.
Yeah. So that should be up
Let's
until
see.
the end of last gen, because I think PS3 production stopped last year. I think.
Mm-hmm.
360 production, I'm not sure of. I don't think Microsoft ever really gave any information on that.
It keeps giving me stupid shit about like shipped instead of sold.
Yeah, that's because that's the numbers they tend to report more is shipped versus sold.
Yeah.
Like the Wii U shipped like 20 million consoles, but it sold like 12. You know?
Yeah. Like the Xbox One, it says units sold 10 mil, but then on the other page it says that they sold, as of 2016, they've sold around 18 to 19 million units.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So that was as of 2016?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a little bit
Um,
outdated. I believe they're closer to 30 now, but like I said, I'm not really sure because Microsoft doesn't typically talk about that.
Yeah, which is annoying.
Yeah, but when you're in second place by a significant margin. Also, I'm just looking at some of these older consoles, like that Fairchild Channel F. That thing looks amazing. I'm not so sure about like the weird butt plug controller, but
The weird butt plug controller.
yeah, but the console itself is cool.
The Fairchild Channel F. That was released in 1976.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of a weird butt plug controller. That is kind of a coolish design. It definitely fits the, like, it has got, like, the wood panels on it.
Yep. And the Fairchild Channel F2 from '79 looks very similar, but it's like shorter, a little bit wider. It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That epic cassette vision, that thing,
Wait, what?
it just looks like a mixing table.
What are you talking about?
The epic cassette vision from 1981.
Cassette vision, I don't see that.
Acadia 2001, that's cool.
Where are you?
I'm on Wikipedia, the list of home video game consoles.
Oh, okay, yeah. The cassette vision?
Yeah, the
The
epic
Epoch?
cassette vision.
I think that's pronounced Epoch.
That's the British way of pronouncing it, yeah.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh.
And I only know that because in Chrono Trigger, the airship is called the Epic. It's that same word, but yeah, British people say Epoch, Americans say Epic. I think Epoch sounds better, but
Yeah. I love the Vectrix.
oh yeah,
It's
the
just a
Vectrix is
TV.
fucking cool.
That's kind of cool. But yeah, so video game consoles, guess.
Guess what?
All right. As of 2016, guess how much the Nintendo Wii U apparently sold?
The Wii U?
Yeah.
I think was only like 8 or 10 million, something like that.
Yeah, it was about like 12.5.
Okay, 12.5, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's see. Looking at the last generation of consoles, the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii.
Well, we
How many
know the
do you
Wii fucking dominated.
Yes. So guess, like, how many units do you think the 360 sold?
360. I'm gonna, cause that was
That was the first one.
yeah. So I'm thinking like the gen before. I know PS2 sold fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I know the original Xbox didn't sell all that great. I think
No,
that was
it did
around
not.
like 20, 30 million units, something like that.
According to Wikipedia, 24 mil.
Okay.
Yeah, and just like a quick thing, the PlayStation 2 apparently is the best-selling video game console in history with 155 million units sold.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say for the 360, 80 million.
For the 360, you are actually really close, 84.7 mil.
Okay. And the PS3, I think, is like in the 70 million range, 75 million, something like that. I know it's not that. It shouldn't be that far behind.
It's actually ahead of the 360
Wow.
with 85.9.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm. I was a
Weird.
little surprised about that too.
Well, I mean, it did around 2011. The 360 really kind of tailed off, and PS3 picked up a lot of steam at that point. With like Uncharted 2, 3, Last of Us, those games made a big difference in sales.
Yeah. And then the Wii did 101 mil.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
surprising.
so the
no
Wii
one.
just crushed everything.
And then in typical Nintendo fashion, in 2004, followed closely in 2005. Actually, in Japan, they both came out in 2004. The Nintendo DS and the PSP.
Oh, yeah.
So, sorry?
PSP,
God.
I'm going to guess, sold like 5 million units, and DS like 8.
Wait, how many do you think PSP sold?
I'm going to guess 5 to 7 million. I know it
Okay.
was not very popular. The DS, I know, has sold a lot. I'm going to say like 18 million on the DS.
All right. Now, what is your cutoff? Are you saying like until they stopped being produced?
That's the thing, especially with the DS, because there's so many fucking versions of it. I don't know.
I think it's just saying.
I don't know where
Like
how
the
they're counting their
original-
numbers.
I think it's the original Nintendo DS.
Like, did they even mention like the DS Lite or the DSi or any of that shit?
Nope.
So
just the
those
DS.
numbers are all just under Nintendo DS probably, because it's technically the same console. It's just like a variant.
Oh, true.
You know, it's like when the PS2 and then like the PS2 Slim. Those still count as PS2s, not separate consoles.
Let me see sales. Okay, so what do you with that information?
Mhm.
What do you think the actual like PSP numbers are?
I know PSP is low.
Mm-hmm.
5 is probably way too low for that.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah. So, like, I know the DS was very popular here, and I know in Japan it was like the thing to have for about 10 years. All right. And I think DS production ceased in 2012 or 2013, something like that. Because the
Let me see.
3DS came out in 2011. So from 2000, let's say from 2004 to 2010, 6 years.
2004 to 2014 is the DS.
Okay.
And the PSP, not the DS. I clicked the PSP. The PSP was 2004 or 2005 to 2014.
Okay, so pretty much the same time range.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Jeez. All right. So PSP. I'm just gonna guess 10 million. DS. I'm gonna say like 18 to 24.
Okay, so the PSP in total sold about 82 million.
Really?
Yes.
Holy
units
shit.
sold. Mm-hmm. And the Nintendo DS, the original Nintendo DS, only sold 18.79 million.
Okay.
With all models combined, 154 million units,
Oh Jesus.
making it the second most sold console.
That's crazy. Like I knew those things were popular, but I had no idea it was like that popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus.
And then for this generation, the PS4 is crushing everyone.
How about, can you find numbers for the 3DS and the Vita? Or is that too recent, you think?
Yeah, actually.
Because I'm very curious about that, because I know the Vita didn't do well. I mean,
yeah.
Sony all but abandoned it like 2 years after it came out.
Yeah. It's been estimated, apparently, that around mid through 2017, Glixel, which I don't know what the fuck that is. Oh, it was like a separate... It was in the Rolling Stone Wikipedia article, so...
What?
Apparently Glixel was like came out of Rolling Stone.
Huh.
But according to them, it sold approximately 15 million units
Okay.
since it came out.
That sounds about right, probably.
And it came out, what, 2011, 2012? That sounds about right,
yeah.
actually.
3DS was 2011. Vita, I think, came out after that, so yeah.
Yeah, it did. Oh my god. The 3DS worldwide, so about 69 million units
Oh, wow.
as of September 30th.
I mean, that sucks compared to the DS's numbers, but
I mean,
it's
well,
still
yeah.
not bad.
It's because of that 3D thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was so cool, and then they realized it gives everyone headaches.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, we accidentally Virtual Boyed.
Oh, yeah. What are the numbers for the Virtual Boy?
Ooh,
I'm very curious about that. That's because I know...
Was that second or...
that would
What
have
generation
been...
was that? Maybe third? Let me see.
That was like 94
probably
that came out?
third.
92? I don't know. Yeah, that was like around third gen, I think. Or fourth, because it would have been around like Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
I almost bought a Virtual Boy a couple years ago. I was looking at
What
them on eBay.
stopped you?
I got outbid several times. There was, I don't know what happened, but there was a few of them on eBay, like not new in box, but you know, with the box, all the stuff, like complete sets, even with some games and stuff, for like $150. So I was like, all right, that's maybe worth it, but then they started going up to like the $200 range, and I was like, fuck that.
Yeah. It came out 1995. You were right.
95,
I
okay.
think. Or you were close.
Yeah. I only ever played a Virtual Boy once, and that was at a Sears.
It ran for 1 year.
Yep.
No, not even.
Oh, really?
Let me see. Release date. Oh my god. In Japan, it ran from July to December of the same year.
Wow.
In North America, it was August 16th, 1995 to March 2nd, 1996.
Huh.
So, not even a year.
So they both lasted around 6 months. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. I want to know how much it was.
I think it was $150 new. I remember thinking that was going to be the coolest fucking thing in the world. Like I remember the ads and like GamePro and EGM and stuff like that. You know, they show a kid fucking wearing the headset, like standing up, doing stuff, holding it, like not holding it, but just, you know. Mm-hmm. And then it came out and it was like, no, it's actually got to stand on these little legs and you have to like sit at a table to use it.
Let's see. They only made 22 games for the Virtual Boy.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can find on eBay, you can find people selling like packs of like 11 to like 13 of those things. Because they made 22, I believe only...
Oh my god.
Like 19 were actually released.
Wait, what?
There was a few that were never actually released. I'm not sure if that's in addition to that 22 or if that's part of that 22.
Oh. Well, apparently the price was $180.
$180, okay.
In 1995?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, for what was marketed as a portable console, that was a lot of money. Because the Game Boy launched in 89, I think, or 88, and I believe it was $89.99.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking an extra $100 for the Virtual Boy. That seems kind of crazy.
Apparently, it only sold 770,000.
That's more than I would have guessed.
Yeah. How about returns? Apparently, someone made an emulator for it.
Yeah, that's not too surprising.
All you need is a Google Cardboard or similar VR headset.
Yeah. That'd be cool. I'd like to check that out. I just need a better phone that can actually do stuff like that.
Oh, and apparently it, like, because it's grayscale instead of that horrible red.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is it actually playable?
Yeah, it doesn't give you horrible motion sickness. I want to know how much how many people returns it.
I don't know.
Oh, here we go.
I'm not sure if they would publish numbers on that.
I want them to. When did the 3DS come out?
2011.
The 3DS?
Yeah.
Holy shit, it did. Wow. All right. That's interesting. But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that the 3DS is like 6 years old and they're still making games for it. It seems doubly stupid when they have a new console that's also portable.
Yeah. Yeah. The Switch is amazing. I want one.
Yeah, I'm gonna get one eventually. Like, Mario Odyssey looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, right?
Like, everything I've heard about that game so far has been, like, extremely positive. People saying that, like, it's basically the sequel that Mario 64 was always supposed to get before they deviated to, like, Sunshine and Galaxy and all that shit. It sounds really good.
That's kind of cool. Let's see. Oh. So, I guess the White House is open now. You know, a certain let's call it a building of thin cardstock might have fallen down.
What? What are we talking about now?
You know, gambling paraphernalia and structures made out of it.
Right, House of Cards. So is this about Trump or is this about Kevin Spacey?
It's about Kevin Spacey.
Okay. So what about him?
Wait, hold up. I'm watching JFK get shot.
Oh yeah, did you look through any of the declassified JFK documents?
I did not.
I only looked at a couple things, but there's a somewhere in there there's, I think it's like a memo. I don't even know what it is. There's a document from like 1963 talking about. I think it's somewhere in South America. I forget what country it was, but it was a CIA operative down there who was like, he was reporting back to the Home Office that he was like pretty sure he knew Hitler and he was still down there.
Wait, go back. What?
So the report that I was reading it was a document. There's a stamp on it that says that it was like microfilmed in 1963, but the report itself is talking about an incident from 1955 where this CIA operative was down in one of these South American countries. I don't know. I'm not even gonna guess which one it was because I forgot. But it was talking about this guy that he met in this little town that he was like pretty sure was Hitler. And there's even a photo attached to it of this dude and this guy that he's pretty positive is Hitler, and it looks kind of like him. Same haircut and mustache, but he's like much thinner, and his face shape is a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So it's probably not him, but it's funny that like that was in this whole thing of like JFK documents, was this random thing about this guy that thinks he found Hitler.
That is a little strange.
Yeah.
What if it was? What if he didn't kill himself?
I mean, there's a very good chance he didn't. Like, you know, the Soviets supposedly have his skeleton, and there were some DNA tests done, and apparently it was actually turned out to be the DNA of like a 40-year-old woman. So he might have actually not died, you know, in his bunker. But I mean, does it really matter? Because he's fucking dead now. It's 2017. There's no way in hell he's still alive.
What? No, he'd still be alive. Nazi science.
Yeah. God, can you imagine if, like, if Wolfenstein came true and, like, Mecha Hitler was actually a real thing?
Oh my God. Well, I feel like, honestly, that's something that our country kind of needs, is some kind of
a Mecha Hitler.
Yeah, like a, you know what I'm talking about, like a shit, what's the word, like just an enemy, just like a black and white, this is a bad guy and we need to group together and kill him kind of thing.
I mean, don't we kind of have
right
that
now? Well,
maybe minus that last thing you said.
I was gonna say, like, except for, you know, like enough of the country that it's a problem.
Yeah.
That doesn't agree, but that's what I mean. Like something that everyone in the entire country would.
The problem is, though, like,
I know.
Let's say Hitler came back from the dead.
I know.
A significant portion of our country would be very happy about that.
I know.
And that's really horrible.
Yeah. Maybe we do need one to come back and take out the neo-Nazis instead of, like, Jews. And they're like, no, this is not my vision.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, okay, now Hitler's bad. Because apparently we need reminding.
I know.
It's fucking stupid. It's so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. But yeah, Kevin Spacey.
Also, speaking of Nazis, apparently that new
oh my God.
That new Wolfenstein is pretty good.
That's what I hear. All the new Wolfenstein's been pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I don't know. I liked Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
But he's not a good person.
Yeah, but I think it's disappointing to hear something bad about somebody that you either look up to or you like their work or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's also important to remember that most people have done dumb things in their lives and have stories that they don't want people to know about, you know? I'm not...
I know, but and like I was trying to rationalize it too. Like, oh, he was just super drunk and he was like, hey, let me get up on this person. And then I saw a picture of what he looked like when he was that age. And I'm like, oh, there's absolutely 0% chance that he wasn't like, oh, this is a child.
Yeah,
he
'cause
looked
the kid
younger
was like
than
14
14.
or something. Yeah.
He looked like he was 12.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Cuz that's not like, oh, I was drunk and didn't realize they weren't 18. It was like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like if it was like a 16-year-old, maybe it would be like, okay, and depending on how they looked, it'd be like, okay, maybe he really didn't know.
Yeah, because it can be hard to tell.
But he looked like he was fresh out of elementary school.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah. And then I'm like reading stories about how apparently he's been seen at what was the guy's name? There was like a scandal a while ago with
You talking
someone.
about Bryan Singer?
I might be, yeah. Can you search, please?
Because that happened a couple of years ago where he was... I forget what happened exactly, but there was rumors of him and some teenage boy.
Oh yeah, Bryan Singer. But apparently, yeah, the whole like Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer are close friends and have supposedly been into some dodgy stuff with underage boys. It's been rumored for years now.
Yeah, I mean...
And like they would see them at parties with a bunch of underage boys.
Yeah. But it's not... I mean, that's obviously... That's not right, but it's not... I want to say it's not really fair to like just single out those guys, because it's been talked about for years that this is like a serious problem throughout all of Hollywood, where there's... I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein. Like, you're talking about ostensibly adults, you know, but it's the same type of thing. Like, it's people using their positions of power to take advantage of people, and that's fucked up.
Yeah, everyone pretty much in this Reddit thread is saying like, oh, so being gay gets you a get out of jail free card on sexual assault, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, that was, I mean, I had always heard rumors that Spacey was gay. I think it's real unfortunate that he chose this event to come out, you know, like,
yeah,
obviously that came off as like a serious attempt to like deflect, you know. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not one to stop watching movies because something happens to an actor I enjoy or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna not watch Seven anymore because of this. I'm not gonna, you know, not watch American Beauty because of this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't change the fact that he is a phenomenal actor, you know.
Yeah.
And
that likes underage boys.
Yeah. But I got a feeling you probe deep enough into most Hollywood people's lives, you're gonna find something like that.
Which I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's bad. But I mean, it's the reality of the situation, I guess, in Hollywood, and that should probably change.
Yeah. Oh, there's also like a good thread talking about how apparently Seth MacFarlane is a goddamn seer.
Why?
Apparently he made like a Family Guy thing. It might have been related to a movie Kevin Spacey did, but it just had Stewie running naked to an airport saying like, help, I just came out of Kevin Spacey's basement.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
Well, like I said, there's always been rumors of him being gay, and I think there had always been rumors of him being into underage boys as well. So that's where where that joke came from, probably.
Mm-hmm. And then apparently in 2013, Seth MacFarlane made a joke about how they got nominated for supporting actress, and he said, "Congratulations, ladies, you no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein." In 2013.
Yeah. Yeah, 30 Rock made a joke about turning down sex with Harvey Weinstein a couple times, things like that. You know,
Yeah.
you get people. That's
That
the
was an
thing
open
is
secret.
these things aren't secrets about
Absolutely.
people. You know what I mean? Like everyone knew Harvey Weinstein was a scumbag. It's just it came out publicly now. And you know, you get jokes like that because these people know all this stuff about everyone, and to them it's not a secret, you know.
Yeah. It's becoming its own. The Simpsons did it. Now, except it's Seth MacFarlane called it, or he's like Nostradamus.
Speaking of Seth MacFarlane, I've been hearing a lot of really good things about the Orville.
Oh, it's so good,
I need
dude.
to watch that.
Oh, it's great. I actually really, really enjoy it.
What's funny is that, like, I guess there's a new Star Trek series out now too that like everyone hates. So like you have a real Star Trek that is terrible, and then you have this like, I'm assuming it's like a parody kind of thing.
Yeah.
That is like apparently really good and
Yes.
very popular. And I guess the reason for that is that a lot of the writers on the Orville were writers on Star Trek TNG. So that kind of makes sense.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
No, because it has a very like Star Trek-y vibe
Oh yeah.
where it's like we're traveling around the place and the aliens in different situations, almost kind of like a Firefly kind of situation, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, and then except Seth MacFarlane made it, so it's goofy
Yep.
and has Seth MacFarlane humor. Which sometimes falls really flat, but honestly, it's like there was like a couple lines that I rolled my eyes really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like he tried to open a door and is super strong. He has like a super strong security officer
Mm-hmm.
who's like 21, and it's just like this really like scrawny looking girl.
Mm-hmm.
And he's trying to open the door, and he's like, could you help me open this jar of pickles?" And then she just like basically punches the entire wall out. And then the classic, he goes, "Well, I loosened it for you." And I'm like, "Oh!" I'm like, that was so bad.
Oh
But
man.
I can't even tell if it was meant to be bad, you know?
Yeah, it probably was.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't finished season 2 of Stranger Things, stop listening now.
But all right, you want to talk about like amazing lines in TV shows? Have you watched Stranger Things?
Of course.
Did you watch season 2?
I did.
It's the line from the reporter after Nancy and Jonathan hook up when they're having breakfast, and he goes,
my God.
"So how was the pullout?"
was-
And Jonathan
that
just
was-
fucking like coughs his drink back into his cup.
That was
my
the funniest
God,
shit.
That is probably the funniest joke I've ever seen in a TV show.
That was really
I
funny.
fucking died laughing at that.
Yeah, that took me way off guard.
Oh man. It was just that delivery was so perfect.
It was. That was really... So, season 2 was shorter, right?
No, it was 9 episodes instead of 8.
Oh, I forgot that it was only 8 episodes the first one.
Yeah.
Um,
What did you think of it? Because I don't think
so
it was
here-
as good as the first season.
Here's the thing. Well, no, I think it was... I'm stuck between liking it... Because Stranger Things was like... It set the bar, right?
Yeah.
It was like, this is this new thing, and we just established a whole world, right?
Right.
And then season 2 is, we're in this world.
Right. You have expectations at that point.
Well, no, I mean, like, in terms of world building, like, the first season set up the world, and the second one just takes place in it.
Yeah.
And it almost starts expanding it more, right? It's like, oh, there were more children,
Yep.
right? And then, like, I if she had actually went dark side, I would have been like, this is the greatest show in the entire world.
I was kind of glad
If she
didn't.
turned into a villain.
Like that whole thing with her, like, I don't know. I feel like that either should have been fleshed out into like more than one episode, or maybe not done at all. Because the way it happened, it was so it seemed too quick. Like, she was in Chicago for, was it a night, 2 nights, something? It wasn't very long.
It wasn't that long.
And like they introduced this little gang, and like they were all kind of cool characters. I'm assuming, was it Kali? Was that her name? 8. Yeah. I'm assuming she's gonna be back at some point. I don't know if the whole gang will be or not, but she definitely will be. Like the whole. I loved the whole idea of them seeing each other as sisters, and like, you know, Kali says like, you know, I feel like I'm whole now that you're here. That the interactions with those two was really interesting. The whole thing with like Elle going with them to like kill this guy, and I guess it was important to do that to establish, like, to really cement that, like, no, she's not a bad person. She's not going to kill people just for the sake of killing them.
And it also helped her like channel anger and shit.
Yeah, because she's learning how to better utilize her power.
Yeah,
I almost feel like that could have been an entire season in and of itself. Her in Chicago doing that, like that could have been its own, maybe not a whole season, but it could have been multiple episodes, and I think it might have been done a little better. It just felt kind of rushed.
Okay, yeah, and I felt like it was a little bit like, it was a cool side story. Like, I was really into it because I was like, is Kali a bad guy? You know?
Yeah, because it
seemed like she was manipulating 11.
Yeah,
especially with that whole like bringing Papa back.
Yeah,
and I was like, what?
So like now I'm really curious if that dude's actually still alive somehow. Because in season 1. From what I remember, he gets attacked by the Demogorgon, and, like, he gets knocked down, but you don't actually see him get killed, I think. So I guess it's possible that he's still alive. But I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like the idea of him actually being around somewhere in the background still.
Well, maybe it's just to plant the seed of doubt that he is, and maybe she'll be like, maybe in the next season she'll be, like, seeing him everywhere.
Maybe, yeah.
It seemed very like they were setting something up.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of setup for a 3rd season, which apparently is already in like pre-production. I mean, so that's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I think my only real problem with this, like, the reason I feel like this wasn't as good as the first one, is mostly because the first season just kind of came out of nowhere. And it was like, holy shit, here's this fucking awesome show that it's set in the 80s. It takes a ton from various types of movies from that, you know, from the 80s. And it just fucking nailed it. Like, it looks like a movie made in the 80s. You have kids, like modern kids playing kids in the 80s, and it looks totally fucking natural. Like, they just fucking nailed it. That show was done so well. And this one, I feel like they went a little overboard on like the hey, it's the 80s thing. Like, the soundtrack was really good, but it was, I feel like it relied a little bit too much on like big pop hits, whereas the first season was a little more like subdued in that manner.
Apparently most of the needle drops were I think all of the songs were played with an explicit purpose.
Probably.
Like I was watching Beyond Stranger Things, and the guys said that. They're like, most of these songs were foreshadowing.
All right. Mm-hmm. I'll have to rewatch it or pay a little more attention to that.
Like the Police song, like the Watching You or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to the fucking shadow monster looking over the thing.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, yeah, that was explicitly for that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was the music just being, like, kind of on the nose. And I didn't like how much of the season was the kids being split up and doing their own things. I think it was more interesting when they were all kind of working together. It was nice to spend more time with, like, Dustin and Lucas. But, like,
I liked how it, like,
I don't like
all the kids kind of like came into their own thing, and like it looks like the party's breaking up, and then like a girl got in the way.
Yeah.
And then fucking Dustin and Steve are becoming like
I love that
bros.
Yeah, Dustin
cool
and Steve
moments.
being buddies is great.
Yeah.
And Steve is probably the best character in that show.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good. And I love that he just like carries that nail bat with him everywhere he goes now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, let me see. So,
but the other thing that was weird about the show too is that like the first season, like it was very clear that Mike was the main character, and this season, I don't know if it's because he was in it and maybe their schedules conflicted or something, but he was like not there for like 90% of the show. It seemed like he was the last couple episodes he was more involved, but like for most of the show, like he was just kind of sitting in the background, not doing anything, which was weird. Because that kid's a good actor. I like him as like one of the main characters.
Well, I mean, he was like, his soul was crushed.
Yeah, and I'm glad they didn't dwell on that and just like have a whole episode of him just sulking and.
Yeah, well, they said they were saying that like, once this new mystery came about, Mike kind of came back.
Yeah,
it was just like you could see that energy back in him.
Yeah, because he was trying to save his friend again.
Exactly, he needed someone to save.
And somebody mentioned something that I didn't remember from the first season, but it's that Mike and Will have been friends since like kindergarten or something like that, and Lucas and Dustin were also friends when they were kids because they lived next door to each other or something like that. Mm-hmm. And it was only once they were in middle school that they all kind of became friends together. So it really makes sense that it split the way it did, where Mike was spending all his time worrying about Will, and then Lucas and Dustin were doing their thing with the Demogorgon dogs and dealing with Max.
Demo dogs.
Yeah, the Demo dogs. Such a good name. I think it was maybe a little forced, the way that whole thing came about, with Dustin finding this random creature in his trash can and then deciding to take it in his house and raise it. Like I know it's supposed to be a year after the events of the first season, but like he is aware that creatures from other dimensions exist, and he sees this thing that he can't identify what it is. Like Dustin's like one of the smarter kids in the group, and it seems weird that he was the one that like decided to keep this thing even when it started growing at like an exponential rate, and it was very clear that it wasn't like a normal Earth lizard,
Yeah. Well, I mean, they said that, like, a lot of it was because he had a new girl he wanted to impress with a cool thing.
Yeah.
And what's cooler than discovering a new species?
Right, yeah.
To him,
and when he explained that to Steve, it did kind of make a little more sense, because that's how a kid would think about that.
Yeah.
It just kind of bothered me that basically, I guess not the entire conflict of that season, but a large conflict of that season was entirely his fault.
Well, I mean, the entire everything was Eleven's fault.
Yeah, that's true.
/ Papa.
Yeah.
And then fucking Hopper and 11, like, all of that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, the end of that first episode, I think it was the first episode, where it was just Hopper and 11 having breakfast at their little table. I was like, that's great. Like, that's such a good setup for the two of them.
And, like, when he's, like, yelling and shit.
Yeah.
And, like, the psychic tantrum.
Yep. That was really good.
Apparently, the creators of the show were like, this needs to happen. Before it happened. Like, there was one of the things on the storyboard was, like, she has to throw a psychic tantrum.
Yeah.
And, of course, the acting was phenomenal.
Yeah.
With, like, Hopper, the guy who does Hopper is, like, a really good actor,
yeah.
I think.
I keep, every single time I watch this show, I see that guy and I'm like, I know I've seen him in other stuff, and I haven't, because this is, like, the first big thing he's been in. But he's such a good actor that, like, it just seems like he should have been in movies for years,
I liken him to, like, a younger Harrison Ford.
Kinda.
Like, the way he talks and stuff,
yeah.
Especially in the first season.
Yeah.
He's a very Harrison Ford kind of thing to him.
Yeah. That is very true.
And the second season he kind of came to his own.
Yeah.
I feel like, which is great because he was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was very clear his motivations.
Yep. And I'm really curious what they're gonna do with his daughter. Something is definitely gonna happen involving the daughter because that's such a big thing for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, apparently, something I thought was kind of cool was that Bob was not supposed to be fucking like a likable character.
Really?
Yeah, he was supposed to be just like this, just kind of annoying shit.
Huh.
And then Samwise Gamgee
Yeah.
fucking auditioned, and they were like, "Oh my god, we need this. We need yes." And they changed the whole character.
That's
and
awesome.
Because he was just so likable. Which made me, I'm not even gonna lie, he was so likable, I was convinced he was evil.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, this guy is like too nice and like too caring about this family.
He's too awesome. There's something wrong.
Yeah, and I think that was probably intentional, because they did the same thing with Paul Reiser as the Doctor, and that's part of that is because Paul Reiser was that guy in Aliens. And season 2 obviously draws a lot from Aliens. Just like season 1 took a bunch of stuff from Alien, the sequel, because they focused on movie sequels of the 80s when they were doing season 2. Because they treat this more like a movie than a TV show, which is interesting, I think. We know with the way they develop it and everything. So in Aliens, Paul Reiser plays, I forget what his first name is, but this guy, Carter Burke, that's his name.
And Paul Reiser is...
he was the old, like, the Doctor. I
I
don't even know what the character's name was in the show. But,
I know who you're talking about, though.
In Aliens, he works for Weyland-Yutani, like, the company that everybody works for.
Yeah.
And he's, he in the beginning of the movie, he's very friendly towards Ripley, and he seems like he's trying to help her get her life back together and stuff like that. And then...
Help her?
Yeah. Because in the
what?
beginning, so have you ever seen Alien or Aliens?
Maybe it was a long time ago. Are you talking about Aliens or Stranger Things right now?
Aliens.
Okay, that's what I was like. I'm like, her? You mean Will? I mean, like, he looks kind of like he looks kind of like a girl, but I mean.
So yeah, so in Aliens, like, he starts off like seeming like a good guy, and then it turns out like he's actually he's the company man, so he's there to serve the company, and he's trying to get an alien back to Earth to study it, turn it into a weapon, all that shit. And I really thought they were doing the same kind of thing with the guy in Stranger Things, because it's the same thing where he comes off as like this, he's like too good, like too much of a nice guy, And there was those scenes they would show him like watching the CCTV monitors and stuff like that, like squeezing the stress ball, and like there's the episode where all the doctors are standing around a table. They're talking about Will, and they're going over like his brain scans. And the guy finishes giving the presentation, and the doctor's like, "Well, I don't hear any answers." And they're like, "We have bigger problems than this kid." And like he gets all mad about that and leaves. And like that, it was good to show that conflict with him, I think. But
yeah.
It really left it very ambiguous, like if he was actually trying to help Will or if he was serving some other purpose. And I must have missed something in the last episode, because like all of a sudden Hopper was tying a belt around his leg and like kind of giving him shit, and then after that they were like hanging out in a diner together. So I gotta rewatch the last couple episodes. I'm gonna rewatch the whole thing anyway, because it's good enough to do that.
Yeah.
But that was it was cool the way they did that. Like they I think that was very intentional, casting Paul Reiser in that type of role again, because they draw so much from Aliens. Like even the very basic setup, like season 1 you had the Demogorgon. It was one creature, just like an alien. You had the one alien. Season 2 comes along, oh, there's a bunch now, and they're a little bit different, just like in Aliens. It went from one alien to a whole hive full of them.
Yeah.
And at the very end, when they were in the tunnels, when they sent that little, not at the very end, it was earlier in the show, But when they sent that little team into the tunnels to go to that spot that Will picked out on the map,
Oh yeah.
the whole thing with like the little scanner they had showing like the outline of the tunnel system, and all the like the guys with their dots, and they all had like the body cameras, so they had like the staticky black, like blue and black footage and everything like that. That was straight out of like the first real encounter in Aliens. Like it was like the exact same thing, and it was fucking awesome.
It was intense too.
Yeah.
It was actually like, oh fuck.
But it's so good. Like I liken it to, I don't even know which game I'm trying to think of. But it doesn't do anything new. It just takes a bunch of ideas that already existed and kind of puts them together. But it does it so well that it doesn't even matter, because the show comes off as so like sincere about what it's showing you. Like it doesn't come off as cheesy. I mean, you have scenes like that where there's a cheesy line or something like that, because that's how everything goes, but it's done with like such reverence for the things that they're taking from, that it makes it okay. That it's not necessarily the most original thing, even though it's original in the way that it takes so many things and puts them together into one thing, and actually makes it feel like its own thing. Like you can see the references, but that's it. It feels like a reference. It doesn't feel like that's too like
an homage.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's done. It's very clearly done more as like an homage than just like, oh, I like this thing, I'm gonna fucking steal it.
Yeah.
God damn it! There was a game I was thinking of that is like the exact same type of thing, and I can't remember what it is now.
Is it the Aliens game? The Space Marines?
Colonial Marines? No. No. Shit. Oh, Horizon. That's what it was. Horizon. There's nothing original about that. It's Horizon Zero Dawn is taking stuff from like every major game from the last decade.
Yeah, it is.
But it does it so fucking well.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter that it's just a bunch of ideas that you've seen before, and it's the same exact thing with Stranger Things.
Fucking, I did have a problem with Stranger Things season 1.
Yeah.
Only one. There was like one thing that stood out so much that I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't like this. This was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, fucking when Nancy crawled into the tree.
Yeah.
After hearing noises and seeing like bones and shit.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, this is obviously a predator den. Let me crawl into it.
Yeah. Like she's headstrong, but I don't know if that really fit the character, her doing that.
No. I'm like, that was stupid.
Yeah.
I'm like, that made no sense other than to move the plot forward.
Yeah. Like, I know she's upset about Barb, but
Betos.
It didn't make a whole lot of sense there.
No, it did not.
Also, Nancy was looking super hot in season 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of season 1 I couldn't decide, but season 2 she was looking good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't have there weren't many like I can't think of a standout part of season 2 that was like, this is stupid and I hate it.
Yeah, like I said, the Chicago thing either should have been expanded or shouldn't have been there at all. That was the only like weird
thing I'll give you that.
For me.
It was a little different.
Yeah. But other than that, yeah. Real fucking solid show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad they were able to like meet the expectation for season 2, because like I said, season 1 came out of nowhere. Like no one knew that was going to be as good a show as it was. And I think that it set a very high bar for them to meet for this one, and I think they did it.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very interested to see what they're going to do with season 3. Oh, I know what I didn't like about season 2, and I know they did it this way intentionally. Fucking Zac Efron.
What?
Billy, the girl's brother. Is that his name, Billy?
Yeah.
Max's brother.
Yeah.
Like, not a single redeeming quality to that kid.
Oh, well, yeah. It was supposed to be a human antagonist.
Yeah, and I like it's nice
Also,
that they have a human antagonist.
Also, Zac Efron?
Isn't that Zac Efron?
No.
It looks just like him.
It looks nothing like him.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Come on.
Wait a minute.
Shit, I can't reach my keyboard. Zac Efron. I'll pull up a picture of him. And
That definitely could have been him with that long ass fucking
Billy, Stranger Things. Why does Dacker, I guess is his name, Montgomery, look like Zac Efron in Human Shrek's Love Child?
Are you kidding me? You don't think that looks like Zac Efron? They could be fucking twins.
I mean,
Look at that dude's IMDb page. Like the cover photo he has on there.
apparently the internet thought the same thing you thought.
Yes, I am vindicated by the power of the internet.
I still can see the difference, and I knew it wasn't Zac Efron.
I honestly thought it was him the entire time. I had no idea it was somebody else.
No.
I thought it was weird that his name didn't show up in the credits, but I thought maybe they were going for some weird thing where it was like supposed to be a secret, you know? Either way, that dude was a total piece of shit.
Oh yeah, he was 100% supposed to be.
And he was a great like rival for Steve, because that's how Steve was in the beginning of the first season.
Yes, he was. That was actually the point.
He grew out of that very quickly, but it was interesting to see him interact with almost his like past self.
Yeah, no, they said that like, Steve was supposed to be, fucking
that kind of guy,
that person, and then because of, like, apparently they were just gonna end it with like the whole Nancy the slut thing.
Uh-huh.
But then they had like a change of heart just based on the way that the guy was playing it, and they're like,
Yeah.
we'll make him good guy. We'll make him good guy. Yeah, they said that a lot of the things were characters or like the actors informing characters or whatever. Like the characters they made, and like it's the exact same thing in D&D.
Oh, yeah.
You make a character, and you're like, this is the character, and then as you play, it becomes its own thing, like, because more and more events happen that make them act in a certain way, and they're like, well, my character would do this, and then that adds character to them, and then what used to be like this is a holy paladin who does good no matter what, turns into maybe there's like some reason they do that, or like, maybe it's not as clear cut, you know, or like maybe they have because they did something, they now have a soft spot for this particular thing, and so when that's presented, but they're like godless, then it's like a dilemma.
Yeah.
And they're like, I don't know what to do. And it makes the character interesting.
Yeah.
Because if it was just like the beginning character who didn't have all that backstory, they'd be like, oh, you're godless? Well, time to die, bitch.
Yeah. And that's the thing with Billy now, is that we've had an entire season of him being a tremendous asshole, and no justification for it, really. Like, we see his dad's a fucking dick, but
well, that's the justification, that his dad beats him, and then he takes it out on his stepsister.
Yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see if they try to like turn his character around next season, or if they just leave him as this giant asshole, like a constant antagonist kind of thing.
Yeah, so and like I thought the same thing, but the actor did not. So the person who played Billy said that at first he was like, oh, he's a racist asshole. Especially because like Like when he's talking about Lucas, he's like, there are certain types of people in this world that you stay away from, and that kid Max, that kid is one of them.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I don't think he ever actually says it's because
No.
he's black, but that does seem to be the reason.
Apparently, it's just because he's a guy trying to mac on his stepsister.
Huh.
And he's like, you stay away from things that are threatening to him. He said, I think he feels threatened. Like I said, these male figures in his life, whether it's Lucas, Steve, his dad, or whoever these different characters that embody his world are, if Max is that one constant, he knows he needs to drop off and look after her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently it's like that animalistic side of like, you're threatening my sibling, my world. What are you doing? Who is this boy trying to weave his way into my life through my sister?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. There's also far more sinister side to where everything is going through Billy in the future that we've only had very small discussions about, aside from his dad maybe what has truly turned him into. There's something far more sinister going on with Billy, he said. We'll see how that unfolds.
Yeah, because...
Apparently, he says that, but that doesn't really mean you're supposed to feel bad for Billy. In fact, Montgomery teased that Billy is going to get a whole lot worse next season.
Oh, great.
Oh, yes!
I did love the way Max fucking took his ass down. Fucking injecting him with, like, the knockout agent.
Oh, yeah.
And then driving the nail bat into the floor between his legs.
Yep.
That was so good.
That was pretty cool.
I'm still not sold on Max, but that was a very good moment for her.
Yes.
So this is interesting, actually. I didn't realize it before, but they've kind of split everybody off into pairs now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mike and Eleven are back together. Dustin is buddies with Steve, and kind of Nancy now. Because that whole thing where they danced, and she told him how that he was always her favorite of her brother's friends and all that stuff. That was a really sweet scene, too, where he was getting shut down by all the girls, and then she came over and asked him to dance and everything. Mm-hmm. I like that. But yeah, so you got Mike and Eleven back together. You got Dustin and Steve doing their thing. Maybe Nancy. Nancy and Jonathan are finally like an official thing. And then you have Joyce and Hopper, who even when Bob was there, we're spending a ton of time together.
Yeah.
But it's cool how they're all kind of in pairs now. And I think that'll work better next season, because this season was like the transition almost of that happening from the core group of kids, the core group of teenagers, and the core group of adults. Now they're all kind of like intermingling better. Mm-hmm. Like at the end when it was Joyce, Nancy, Jonathan, and Mike taking care of Will, I thought that was really cool because it was all three groups all functioning together in this like cohesive unit now.
Yeah.
Whereas in the first season, it was all very separate up until the very end. Like the kids were investigating Will, the adults were investigating Will, and the teenagers were investigating Will, but they were all doing it in their own way, and they all kind of came together at the end. And now it kind of did the opposite, where they split back up into small groups again, but now they all know how to work together and rely on each other.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, the whole show is great.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I really have to pee, so I think we should call it.
Probably a good idea.
So let's cue up that music, and then is there anything else you want to say before we leave?
That's a tough one.
Was that it?
Sure.
All right, cool. Alright, well, thank you for listening to the Watch Talk Fun podcast. My name is Griffin.
And I'm Rob.
And we'll see you next week.
Yay.
Yay.